The games are about to begin. You're watching Butler Esports.
Hello and welcome back to Butler Esports' Battle for Indiana, the third one hosted in person here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Levi Rabis, and I'm joined here with...
I'm Jort.
And today we're going to be playing League of Legends. It's going to be an 8-man bracket double elimination tournament. And we're going to hop on right into a Purdue-Manchester game.
That's right. And I'm really excited for today. Obviously, being from Indiana University, I got a little bias, but I'm really excited for this matchup. I think, as we were talking about before, I think Manchester really is a sleeper to potentially win this game. So I'm super excited.
And I think we're going to be jumping in right into draft here. And as we can see, some things have already been done. Purdue targeting that mid lane and maybe a jungle flex with the Talia. And Manchester definitely targeting that jungle top lane flexes with Volibear Gragas. And an Oran ban also targeted towards Manchester's top lane. Interesting bans. Known, like of the really known OP champions that I would say should be dominant today on these games.
That's true. I know that recently the Ahri Nocturne comp has been super strong. So I think that Ahri ban might be a target towards Manchester, just trying to break down that Nocturne Ahri comp potentially. But yeah, it looks like they're really focusing these flex positions with Purdue trying to take down mid. And as you said, Manchester trying to ban some top and jungle support here.
Yeah, and these picks are more of what I expected to be banned. I expected the Skarner ban. I expected maybe the Yone ban, even though I don't think Yone's very good. But if you have people who play a lot of Yone, you definitely want that ban. So I'm surprised to see those get through. I'm surprised to see the Aurora Flex hasn't been picked. That champion is really strong. But I do kind of like what I'm seeing from Manchester here. You know, you have Yone who can flex into 2 roles. You have Udyr who can flex into 2 roles. And red side is all about having those strong red side flex champions. Ooh, the Draven.
Yeah, the Draven. That's an interesting pick. I really like that. I'm a big Draven fan. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Which really tells us that Purdue wants to play aggressive, in your face. They want to accelerate this game. And really, they might think they're the way better team. Maybe a solo queue rank. Maybe, you know, they're more comfortable in this. And a rel. That's just a aggressive bot lane. And Manchester has to have something to answer it.
Oh yeah, I was definitely, after that I saw that Draven come out, I was thinking Alistar, Leona, Rel, and yep, you were exactly right. They're definitely looking to go for something more divey, trying to be aggressive. Maybe they're trying to put this one away. Maybe they really do think they're the better team.
I would love to see a Ziggs here from Manchester. It does everything you need right now. Strong AP damage and can completely, yes, go Ziggs. Yes, completely neutralizes that Draven lane. It's super easy to play Ziggs into Draven because Draven is a little bit short range, kinda. When it comes to the 80 carry, you know, he's more of the mid-range ones. But he really relies on catching his axes. You throw a satchel down near that axe, push him away, and you completely stop him from being able to play the game. Ziggs is a huge pick right there, and really smart for Manchester so far in draft.
Yeah, and I agree. I really like the idea of having that Ziggs to zone out Draven and Rel, kind of farm far away. I'm really interested to see that with these next few bans here. I see that Orianna and the Sylas getting banned, and Poppy as well. Very interesting.
I'm not a big fan of the Sylas ban as much as like an Akali ban, but hey, I so far I really like what Manchester's doing. I assume they're going to pick support here on 4, probably Leona, pair the Leona Ziggs together, have a lot of good CC, more frontline. I don't really think you have another, maybe Nautilus could work, but that's bad into the Rel. Not very many options here. I assume they're going to go Leona. Keep that Yone flex pick for last. Taric is an interesting choice too. Not as much CC as Leona, but much more counter engage and scales way better. It's an interesting pick.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. They were really trying to ban those supports, those engaged supports with that Poppy and Alistar ban. But Taric is really an interesting move. I can't say I expected that one.
No, I did not expect Taric either. And the Mordekaiser out top. Are they going to play an 80 mid here? Oh, they're going to go the Corki. I'm not sure how strong Corki is after these recent buffs. So it'll be fun to see him in a comp setting. And if I'm Manchester here, I'm actually sending the Yone top into the Mordekaiser. And I'm picking Syndra into this Corki. Or I'm picking Renekton or Olaf. Olaf top goes crazy here into the Mordekaiser. Something, use this Yone flex and get yourself a 100% good matchups in both lanes. They're going to go Zac. Is that Zach Jungle or Zach Top into the Mordekaiser? What do you think?
I am not sure. I'm thinking maybe Zach top though, and that Udyr jungle for that like long-term scaling. I don't really know though. I could see it either way. It's gonna be an interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, and the Udyr is actually good into the Mordekaiser top because you can cancel his ult and his E with your Unstoppable. I believe it's his W.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Udyr go top here. I really like Manchester's draft, actually. Purdue's draft is very much a, hey, we're going to win this game in 20, 25 minutes, and there's nothing you can do about it. We're just going to stomp you. And Manchester's draft is a, hey, we see what you're going to do, and we're going to slow this game down, and we're going to try and survive for 30 minutes without you getting soul, and then just win the game through comp diff.
That's right. It looks like their comp is like way more cautious than Purdue's. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen here. Like it's going to be a really good one.
Yeah, and it's exciting. I don't know how practiced these two teams are. I mean, we're not early into like NACE seasons or conference play for the fall, but we're early into this patch, right? Worlds is on an older patch. You haven't seen any pro play on this patch, so you really have no idea what to expect in meta changes because these teams are both coming in with very different reads, as you can tell. Manchester is very much still aligning with what pro play currently agrees on. Yone, Ziggs. The Tarix is interesting. Udyr is interesting, but Purdue is Skarner, which is aligned with pro play, and then full on, we're going to beat you in 25 minutes.
Yeah, especially with that Corki, as you were saying before, with the buffs. I mean, that's going to be a really interesting pick to see, especially because, as you said, a lot of the pro play right now playing on an older patch. So I'm interested to see what this Corki does here.
Yeah, I've got a buddy who's a Corki fanatic.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, he loves that champion, and he's really good at it too. And he said before these changes, Corki was the worst champ of the game, was his belief. And yesterday, he sent me a picture of a game where he was like 19-1, and he said Corki's so back. So I guess we're going to find out if Corki's back or not in this game.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. Corki, I feel like, has been in such a bad position for such a long time. I'm excited.
And I'm sure he's going to go full AD. I feel like that's what you have to do. But, man, it's going to be hard to get through this Manchester beef. Udyr, Tarek, Zach, they are very, very tanky. And Ziggs actually has a really safe game this game. Like, it's not easy to get onto this Ziggs at all.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Ziggs and Tarek lane. I'm interested to see how they compete with the Rel and the Draven, because Draven usually is super aggressive, and with that Rel who has a lot of engage, it's going to be really interesting.
I would assume they're just going to play, hey, we are not going to interact bot lane for the first 5.5, 6 minutes. Once Ziggs has lost chapter, then Tarek's gone. Like, Tarek is never showing up back bot lane. He's going to play around mid. He's going to play around top. He's going to rotate to those grubs. While I hope the Ziggs has TP, so, he can play for that early TP back with lost chapter and then completely neutralize this lane 1v2. That's the value of picking Ziggs, right, into a Draven Rel, is you are going to be able to 1v2 that lane once you have lost chapter and enough mana to clear the wave easy.
I think you're exactly right. That roam potential from the Tark is going to be something that Purdue really has to look out for. I'd be kind of scared if I was top lane. That Mordekaiser probably going top if I were to assume. With that Zac also, that Zac, if he does go top instead of the Udyr, a lot of engage there. Plus the Tarek potentially coming up too. Kind of scary for, I don't know, both sides of the jungle.
Yeah, the one good thing though, if you are that Mordekaiser, is if somebody ganks you, you take them to the death realm, and now that's who you're fighting 1v1. Every gank turns into a 1v1 against Mordekaiser. And if you don't win that 1v1, that means he's going to have your stats for maybe the 2v1 right after, or the 1v3, whatever, or the 2v2. It all depends. I mean, Purdue definitely has an idea and a draft concept behind their draft. I just think that it's going to come down to really solid play. And that's what's fun about these Battle for Nianna games, is oftentimes these teams are new teams because we play in the fall. Semester started like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And maybe these guys haven't played a ton. Maybe there's some people who are new to comp. So it's always fun to see how they adapt and how well they actually show up on the day. Because that's the beauty of LAN. It's all about who shows up on the day. A challenger team could lose to a diamond team. It all depends on who shows up.
That's right. And you were talking earlier about some of the familiar faces that you've seen throughout the year, so it's going to be interesting to see some of those players and to see if perhaps they can have some of the success that they've had in the past at these LAN events.
Yeah, and not just the familiar players, the new players. Like Manchester was here last year, and they have a couple new players in Risk Asuna and Armstrong Boy who were not here last year, who seem to be, I would assume they're maybe freshmen, maybe sophomore. I'm not quite sure on that, but new players to the team who seem to be improvements. And Purdue is also a very new lineup from what they brought here last year.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how these matchups are going to play out with all these new faces. Yeah, it's going to be a really good one. I hope it's super close. I wonder if this super divey comp is going to pay off for Purdue. It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Yeah, and it's all going to come down to performance. Also, one thing to look out for this whole game is going to be Draven and Ziggs flash. If Draven doesn't have flash, it is very hard game for him to play into Zach, Yone jumping on him, Ziggs ult on top of that. You know, he's never going to be a threat to this Ziggs without his flash because, you know, you just can't get past all these people. And if he's not accelerated enough to melt through these frontline targets, this Draven might have a pretty tough game. But again, I'm not 100% sure on how much damage this Corki's going to have. Like I said, we haven't seen Corki in comp since his recent changes, since he was nerfed out of pro play and he's been buffed. So if he does a ton more damage, then I think it could be easier to get through these front line, but it's going to be a fun game. This is going to be an interesting game to start with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that Corki really is a wild card. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. A lot of wild cards this game. A lot of picks that I haven't seen in kind of a long time while casting and just watching some pro play. So I'm excited to see what happens here.
I also think it's going to be really interesting to see the Zach versus Udyr top and how this all affects the meta for the rest of the day. Because the beauty of these things is last year it was Cassante. Cassante was new, and once he started being played, it was, oh, every team now has to focus on Cassante. This is a problem champion, Cassante. And maybe that's going to be Corki today. Maybe Purdue comes out with a great meta read. It's like, hey, Draven Corki, you know, Skarner's still broken. Every team's going to have to take watch on that. Maybe Manchester's the one with the better meta read, and they still think Yone Ziggs is the way to play. And we are going to be getting the game here, and I can already see that it is Zach top. So, which is kind of what you expect to see. Like you said, you thought you'd see the Zach top, which is interesting. I know Armstrong Boy is a very good Udyr player. So it's good to see how well he could play the Zach and the Mordekaiser.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting. Maybe they were thinking the same way I was, where you might just want that mobility for Zach if later in the game that Tarek does roam. Just being able to get away very quickly. But we'll see what happens here. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and the Zach is also the matchup they wanted. They had last pick, red side top, so they got the Zach into the Mordekaiser. You know, they chose this lane. This is what they thought was best for this team. They chose not to flex the Yone into another lane, which maybe might have been the right play, might have been the wrong play, but this is what they wanted. So I really need to see this Zach perform in this matchup that they picked for themselves, that scales really well, and that is just a problem for that Purdue team. Because like I said, if they get very far ahead, it's going to be very hard to kill the Zach. Lanes are doing a lot of what I expected. I mean, we should see pushing side lanes or pushing lanes all across the board for Purdue. You know, you have the melee mid into the range mid. You have Mordekaiser, who's quite strong early in those level 1, 2, 3 trades with his passive. And obviously Draven buff. You're going to see pushing lanes from Purdue.
That's right, and you saw early there, Corki getting a demanding CS lead. Yone started to close that gap a little bit. Looks like Mordekaiser here really poking down Zach as well, just forcing him under turret for these early waves. Kind of to be expected here.
Yeah, and Erklin, the mid laner for Manchester, who was here last year, was kind of a shining spot for them. So if he can really keep this mid lane range versus melee matchup close, we could see this Yone be really, really strong and really powerful this game. Because like I said, it's kind of easy to dive the Purdue team. Like, it's not hard to get on top of these carries. We're seeing this trading topside. This is going to be what we're going to see all game from this Zach Mordekaiser. Zach does not care if you trade with him. He's just going to take up his blobs, heal it all back up. It really does not matter. Top's going to be all about who gets the CS and who's missing. And we see Ziggs is actually getting some counter push on bot lane with Skarner here. Some more trading from top. It's just going to be this over and over and over again. Skarner is looking for a gank bot, which he is in a great spot. Rel is going to be able to jump, pull back the Tarek. Tarek gets done. Flash from Ziggs. Great play here. Get the kill to Draven. Flash away from Tarek. Draven, first blood and a cash in. That's very, very nice for the side of Purdue, and that's what they wanted when they picked this champion.
That's right. That's exactly what's to be expected with that comp. They really were trying to aim for those early dives, get an early pick, get that Draven fed, and that's exactly what happened. It's going to be interesting to see how Manchester here responds.
Yeah, and that interaction there is a little bit of a weird one as he's going to soul unbound towards the Corki and try and trade with him, which is what you're going to see in this lane a whole bunch. But a little interesting interaction there with the Skarner E, I believe, the one that goes through the wall. I haven't played much of the new Skarner, but I believe it's his E. It's actually kind of a suppress at first, so you can't flash right away. You have to flash before he grabs you, and poor Kira just didn't get that flash early enough, and it just cost him his life because of the amount of CC on the side of Purdue. And it was just a well-played fight, and we're seeing more trading here from the top, more trading in the bot. We're seeing fights all across the map. The stun here, the Satchel is going to push away the Draven. Rel might die here. One more bomb is all it's going to take. He needs one more auto. He goes back in with the crash down and gets the kill. Armstrong Bora here though. T1 Gumayushi gets stun flashed on. Phantom is going to fall, but are they going to have enough damage for the Draven? It does not look like they will. Draven, unless one more bomb, another cash and kill for the Draven, and he's barely going to live. The Satchel charge just misses. Really well played there from the side of the Purdue bot lane.
That was a wild interaction in the bot lane. Once I saw Udyr come down, I knew it was over, but somehow...
He's level 6. He's going to take him to the death realm. I don't think he's going to be able to dive him. He's going to get his passive out, though, which is huge. Zac without passive is so much easier to kill. And as you were saying, now Draven's 3-0.
That's right. That's extremely scary for Manchester there. I wonder how they're going to respond to that. Maybe they're going to look for another gank down bot lane. Tarek obviously is not going to be able to roam as early as you might want if you're Manchester.
Yeah, and you know, just everything going kind of wrong here in the bot lane for Manchester, but you knew you were going to lose this bot lane. That's why they have Draven. You have Ziggs. You're going to lose this. Soul Unbound forward, and the Rel is here to stop any attempt at an all-in here, but Erklin is keeping his own here. I mean, he's down 13 CS. He's going to be down like 8 or 9 after this wave. But he's doing okay, but the big pressure point here, the gravity for Purdue is going to be around this Draven.
That's right, and you already see the Rel starting to roam a little bit. Went topside for a second, obviously just backed. That's kind of scary. I mean, Rel could be anywhere at this point. Manchester really needs to be cautious here.
Yeah, we are seeing some cross-mapping here. Udyr took some of Skarner's camps while he was on Grubs. He is behind him. If he can get the stun off and Tarek stun, they might have enough damage. T1 Gumayushi is going to put him away. Nice movement there from the Draven, but is it going to be enough? Does Manchester have enough damage? The Satchel charge is going to get him killed. It's a shutdown over the side of Armstrong Boys Udyr.
And that's exactly what you want to see if you're Manchester. You get that shutdown, you get a little bit of extra gold, goes to that Udyr. Just hoping that he builds some more items, goes out there and provides some more pressure for Manchester.
And that was off the back of a really smart cross map there from Armstrong Boy. You know, he knew the Grubs were gone because Saknam has so much pressure in this top lane matchup. So he went and took the Raptors, and great wave management from Risk, Asuna, Yuki, and Kira bot lane to have the Draven so far pushed up when he has no sums. Very well played there as a macro standpoint. Now we're just going to see a fight probably here, or not a fight, just like a free take on this Dragon though from Purdue, unless they are looking for a play bot lane with this Skarner, who does have his ult with the Impale. He's going to go in right now. The Tarek is the point of pressure, and he is just going to fall, and that's another kill to the side of Purdue's Draven.
Yeah, and that's not what you want to see again if you're Manchester. Not great. I see Mordekaiser top on Purdue also having a commanding lead here. As you said before, Zac without his passive is just not nearly as intimidating. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on top lane here with this interaction.
Trading is a lot, but he does have the death from the flash forward. Does he die to the tower though? No, he's got that pass. Oh, he does die. That tower did a lot of damage. I mean, it's good for the side of Saknam because Poke is going to lose the wave there, but any 1-for-1 always kind of feels a little meh, but at the end of the day, Saknom did force him to lose the wave, and now the wave's going to slow push back into him, so it's slightly better for him.
That's true, and a large commanding jungle lead for Purdue here. They got the grubs, they got the dragon. I'm interested to see how Manchester's going to respond there, especially because Udyr does have a couple kills. I'm interested to see what role he's going to play here in the short future.
I mean, this is kind of what you expected, though. I mean, Purdue is very early game focused with the Mordekaiser and with the Draven. Both side lanes are very strong in those first 15 to 20 minutes before they start to, slightly fall off here. We're going to see a stun, but all this trading bot lane is going to be inconsequential. So we expected Purdue to get these early objectives. All Manchester has to do is keep the game close enough so that they have time to scale into this game so they can maybe contest Soul Point or contest the first Barons.
And they're definitely keeping it close in the terms of CS here. I mean, it looks like Yone is actually doing a pretty good job keeping
We're going
up
to see a
with
gank here top from the Udyr. Mordekaiser does not have his Death Realm, but Poke is extremely low. Armstrong Boy has to do all the damage here. He's going to jump in. Oh, and it's just going to be a 1v2, and it was so close from Saknom, but Poke does it just enough. That was really well played by both sides, but Corki is up here with the Rockets, and both these players top are extremely weak. Udyr, the Draven gets it, and Poke is going to fall as well to the mid laner of Purdue. Yes. Wow. The Draven snipe.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That was awesome. I mean, that always feels good when you're playing Draven, Jinx, stuff like that with those cross-map ultis to get it. And also, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that guy's name. Is it Iza, A-Y-Z? I'm not sure what the Purdue mid laner's name is. I will get that for the next game of this series. But he's feeling very good about that because he's getting plates, and he just got a kill and an assist on that play, on that roam.
That's right, and he has a CS lead. He has 112, which is the highest in the game as well. Definitely, we need to keep an eye on this Corki. Could be super impactful in the near future here.
Yeah, and Erklin is kind of in a good spot here. He's going to try and fight Saknom's Mordekaiser. He gets stunned by the Tart. It is a 3v1. The ult from Tart comes out early to make this 1v1 into Death Realm a lot easier there for himself without him dying. But it's a 4v4 now here. Everybody is here. The Zac jump is huge. The Fate Unsealed hits multiple members of Purdue, and Poke gets the first. And Erklin is not going to be able to finish anybody else. It's a 2-for-1 for the side of Purdue.
That was an intense fight there. I guess it was for the second round of the Grubs as well, but Zac's still alive, Erklin's still alive. It's going to be a scary interaction here in the future with these Grubs. I don't think they can test them at all. That's great for Manchester, especially because... that's great for Purdue, excuse me. Because, again, they get that commanding jungle lead, which is exactly what they want in this early game. They're just trying to put them away.
I gotta say, I'm seeing a little bit of the Corki there. In the middle of that fight, Erklin hit a massive Fate Unsealed with that Yone on 3 people. And I thought it was going to be a fight that was easily turned for the side of Manchester. But this Corki exploded that Udyr and turned that 3v3 into a 2v3. And I did not expect him to just kind of blow him up like that. Just going to see a lot of trading in these side lanes now. Oops, stun. This isn't going to matter much. It's just going to be more poke down. But he does have the Bloodthirster to heal up. So any trading bot lane, if it's not a full 100-0 all-in, is going to be inconsequential. The Fate Unsealed, or no, the Soul Unbound right there from the Yone. Just going to constantly trade with this guy and TP back to the lane. Poke might lose his passive here. No, he's going to be okay. But he could get dove here and lose his passive like we saw earlier in the game. Which is constantly going to be this ping pong back and forth. There is the Udyr top. He is taking some damage. The Zac does have his passive. Mordekaiser does not have the Death Realm. He's going to try and kill the Zac passive before he's taken down, but he's not able to.
And that's what you love to see if you're Manchester, just getting another pick here. Just keeping this game close, closing the gap, buying time for the late game.
I'm not sure if Manchester's bot lane has been able to see that the Skarner and the Corki are here. If they have, they should be able to survive this dive with an ult onto the wave. But this is why you pick Ziggs, to keep yourself from being tagged. gank, but it's everybody's crash down is going to land on the Taric. They have no sums, and it's just too tanky. Quite well played there from the side of Purdue, but Rel falls for it. But you're not mad about that. You're going to get first tower and another free kill.
That's right, and it looks like they're going to be going towards Dragon now just for another easy objective.
Yeah, they absolutely should take that. I mean, they lost some plates and some CS in mid lane for that play, and that's kind of a little misplayed there by the side of Manchester. I'm not sure if they knew that the Corki and the Skarner were bot side in that bush, but they were off map for so long. I feel like you just ult that wave earlier. It was a cannon wave, but your goal at that point's got to be to keep that wave off the tower. A little bit of that macro understanding of the game that you might not see from teams that haven't been able to play a ton and been able to review yet this early into the year.
Yeah, it looks like the bot lane went mid on the side of Manchester. We see Yone going bot lane now. And it looks like there might be a fight here around Rift Herald, but it looks like Manchester might just have it. But it looks like both teams are moving towards the top side of the map, so we could see something here soon.
This is actually good for Manchester because Yone is able to move up, and Corki's trying to catch that bot wave because otherwise you're going to miss a wave, maybe 2 waves, and maybe more as it slow pushes out. So this could be a 4v5 as neither mid laner has TP. I do not know if Purdue knows that Yone is up here. They do not have good position on this Herald really at all right now. This is Manchester's control right now. They just got to start to hit some poke and really keep notice of where Mordekaiser is so he can't get a flank, and I think they saw him up there. But Corki is going to start to move now, so Manchester knows that this 5v4 is going to turn to a 5v5 kind of soon, and they do have to get that bot wave. And as you can see, Zach is facing so he can go there since he's the one with TP, and there are no TPs on the side of Purdue. So they're just going to constantly play this game with no TPs around this Herald. I don't know why Zach stopped his base so many times, but as you can see on that bot side, that wave is stacking. He stopped his base again. He must have been on a control ward and got stopped or something, but that bot wave is stacking big for Purdue, meaning a lot of Purdue minions, which means Manchester's minions are dying, which is stopping Purdue from getting them. Udyr is not, I don't think Udyr should take that wave from Zach, but a lot of waves were lost for Purdue to get that Herald, which in the end might be worth it depending on what happens with the Herald play. And I think Manchester had the right idea on how to play that. They just kind of played it a little too slow, and then when they got back on tempo from Purdue, they needed to move that Zach bot lane and play with their TP advantage again.
Maybe Purdue now looks to go after this Zach, potentially. I see a few different champions bot lane here. That Skarner and that Corki, but it looks like Zach's going to head mid, potentially for a fight against the Purdue bot lane.
See, this is the nice thing about Zach, is you know that Draven's going to try and push this wave really fast, try and hit this tower with his 6 grubs, and maybe you can get a jump on him and then move back bot. Like, you're going to see these side lanes from Manchester constantly doing this move from side, move to mid, move from side, move to mid on these waves to try and alleviate some of the pressure that Purdue is showing from their early game advantage.
And we see Corki there in the bot jungle too, potentially looking to make a move, but trying to figure out what's going on top lane here.
Udyr is going to try and gank, but he does have the Death Realm. The Fate Unsealed doesn't hit anybody. The Death Realm onto the Yone. I don't know if it's a Soul Unbound. He kind of needs a Soul Unbound to stay alive, but he's playing this really well from Earthland. The Udyr stun is going to go down on Saknov, and he's going to fall, but that means the mid tower is going to fall, and they're going to have a play here at the tier 2. Flash crash down from the Rel onto the Taric, but Zach is here, but I don't think he's going to have any feel. The Taric ult is actually massive right there to save both the Zach and Taric, but nice dive from the side of Purdue.
Yeah, that was a great dive, but Manchester also played that super well by ripping that Taric ult. Now that mid turret's saved, which is huge, and
I think it's just gonna fall though. That was a really nice flash crash down play there from Phantom onto the Ziggs, and he did it so well, so quick. Everyone followed up that Ziggs did not have any time to flash. And now we're just going to see this reset of tempo from Purdue. They're all going to base at the same time, use their gold. Now we're seeing 2 items come across for these carries in the Corki and the Draven. This Purdue team, who's up 6K almost right now, is very, very strong.
Yeah, they're going to look to snowball here with that 6K gold difference there for Purdue. I mean, that back's huge. They bought a whole bunch of items. It's looking kind of grim for Manchester, but we'll see what happens here in the future.
Yeah, this is kind of what you expected a little bit from the side of Manchester, where you would fall behind. You would hope not to fall this far behind. You know, you wanted to keep it a little bit closer, maybe expect to fall 2-3K behind just because of comps and what champions want to do. But Purdue has forced the issue all game. You know, they are pushing you, they're diving you, they're making you do something to counteract their aggression. And Manchester hasn't been able to handle it right now. And there's some posturing going on for this dragon right now, this ocean, which would be sole point for Purdue. I think Manchester has position on it. Mordekaiser is hitting that top tier 2. He's going to TP in right now. Poke is going to get stunned. There's a flash in onto the Corki. Soul Unbound does hit the Corki. Does Corki fall? He does fall. That's the first to fall. Eugene is almost dead, but Satcom has a great death realm. The Zach passive is going to fall as well, though he's not, but the Draven Gumayushi is hitting everybody. And Risk Asuna has no damage to help. Oh, Erklin almost made a play, but that was just a free, oh, nice flash forward there from Satcom to finish and get the ace for the side of Purdue.
And I don't think Gumayuki has missed a single sword all game. Like,
yeah, he's catching those axes. Yeah, that was really well played there from the 80 carry of Purdue. And it looked good there at the beginning, but I think Manchester just got a little too ahead of themselves after they caught the Corki and the Soul Unbound from Yone brought him back. There was just not much he could do from that point on. It was just kind of tough because the Udyr flashed forward and tried to hit the Draven, but once that Soul Unbound brought Yone back to his original position, there wasn't much more follow-up on that Yone at all. So I think they just got a little too deep onto the play.
That's true, and I'm just wondering now if Manchester's going to hold out here. I mean, you were talking about that 25-minute potential Purdue win, and I'm worried if I'm Manchester right now. It's not looking great.
No, and you know, like I said, Purdue came in with a game plan. Their meta read was, hey, we're playing aggressive. We think we're the better team. We think this is the meta right now. You know, you have to accelerate games, and this is what they wanted to do, and they are performing on it.
That's right, and I know that Draven has been fantastic, but also the Corki. That Corki pick, which was kind of a wild card, has also been proven to be fantastic as well.
Yeah, and he's played really well on it. I mean, that fight was a little tough for him because, you know, you got Zach jumping on you, you got Yone jumping on you, which is what I said the Manchester comp wants to do, but he still played it quite well. I don't believe he had his flash at his time. He did as much damage as he could, but Gumayuki, I think maybe, yeah, Gumayuki. Let's call him Gumayuki. My bad. I think I was saying just Gumayushi because I'm so used to watching him play, but Gumayuki has played very well in this Draven to keep himself safe and dish out a ton of damage. And they're just going to start the Baron because they can.
Yeah, this is a super early Baron. It's going to be interesting. I mean, they almost have a 10k gold lead here against Manchester. It's not looking great.
Yeah, I mean, this Baron is absolutely just gone. Saknam is on Risk Asuna. He doesn't even need to use the Death Realm to get the kill, and everybody is going to fall here. It's just going to be a straight beef 5-for-5, but T1 Gumayuki is going to fall first. Saknam has a great Death Realm. Erglin just showed up. The Fate Unsealed does hit the Corki. It's a double kill for the Udyr. Phantom is going to be the next to fall. Eugene is right there on Erglin, who is going to get the kill. Now it's just Saknam versus the world, and he's going to fight against the world, and he's doing his best. He's a triple kill there for Saknam. 4 Kira is the only one left, and it's not going to be enough. It's a quadra kill for Saknam.
And an ace as well. This is a fantastic play. Honestly, from both sides, I can't even be mad if I'm Manchester. They put up a great fight, but wow, what a play from Saknam.
That fight looked so bad to start because Saknam got... Oh, wait. That might have been an unofficial pentakill for Saknam. I'm not sure if he missed a kill in there or if the Corki kill or the Ziggs kill was too early to count for a penta. But he killed Ziggs on the side before the fight even began without using his ult. Got into the middle of that fight. Had a great Death Realm there to take out, I believe, Poke. And then it was him 1v3 against Erklin, Armstrong Boy, and Kira. And he likes those odds. He said, I'm picking the Mordekaiser. I like this champion. I don't care that you have counter pick. I'm going to dominate these team fights. And that's what he's doing. As we can see, he's got a 5k gold lead almost on his lane opponent. And Draven has also a 5k gold lead. This 10k gold lead is basically all in bot and top lane.
Yeah, that's true, and it looks like something's going on here down in the bot lane. Purdue looking to potentially catch out Yone and maybe Udyr as well. Looks like Ziggs is backing, but Tark is staying, so it's going to be interesting to see what Purdue does here. Potentially diving that tower once that wave pushes in, but we'll see.
Yeah, and it's just going to be Purdue posturing for position in this blue side jungle to just really set up for this dragon in a minute, because they don't have to do much risks anymore for the rest of the game. They can play slow, get this free soul, and then start taking more risks. They're at such a big advantage. They don't need to try and dive. They don't need to try and do anything stupid. Just let Saknom play side lane, get full vision control, and then play for the soul.
That's right. It looks like there's still some action going on down here, just trying to get the better positioning, trying to bully Manchester into staying where they are. It's going to be definitely interesting to see what a fight that might happen, especially because Mordekaiser does have TP. So if Purdue tries to go after this dragon, and maybe Manchester wants to contest it because it's soul, I mean, we could see that Mordekaiser come down, and it could be another bloodbath like it was before.
Yeah, the macro here for Purdue, like I said, is very easy. Just let Saknom go side lane or keep him solo in a lane and have pressure in another one with your other core 4 with the Draven, Rel, Skarner, Corki. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to keep pressure in this mid bot lane, keep control of this vision, and force Manchester to say, hey, if you want to come in, you're coming into this dragon blind. And as we see, that's what is going to happen here. As this dragon does spawn, they're just going to start it right away and force him in. But Armstrong Boy is in deep. Saknom does get stunned. Armstrong Boy is just going to fall. The Soul Unbound into the Fate Unsealed. Hits 2. Corki is going to be the first to die. The poke is going to be next. Armstrong Boy dies to Saknom. Erglin is in the middle of everybody. They got onto Gumayuki, but it's not enough. Maybe. Do they have enough damage to kill him? No, it's a great stun there from Phantom to keep Yuki alive. And Saknom is going to kill Risk asking up for the double kill. And all that's left is a Zac passive that is going to fall. And that's going to be Soul to the side of Purdue.
That's right. Saknom, again, just a fantastic team fight. Played that extremely well. I'm not sure what was going on there with Armstrong Boy trying to get in there like so fast like that, but it looks like it's going to be the Soul from Purdue, completely uncontested, and just another team fight win on the side of Purdue.
Purdue, a lot of people on Purdue played that fight really. Actually, it was a pretty high level fight from everybody. I mean, Manchester's down 13k gold, which is kind of why the reason it looks so skewed. But the fact that it was kind of that fight, that close, tells the difference in these comps. As we're getting closer, if there's a closer gold difference, it might have been a much closer fight or gone the other way, because we saw Erklin Soul Unbound into Fate Unsealed hit 2. Gumayuki had a great flash to not get stunned by that and be able to continue to dish out damage. Armstrong Boy went in a little bit too deep, but Phantom was in perfectly to stun, poke, and Armstrong Boy to keep Gumayuki alive and to allow him to keep doing damage. It was really well played from a lot of members of this game.
Yeah, you said it best. That's absolutely true. And it's going to be interesting to see what the next moves are here. Potentially just maybe looking towards a game end. I mean, this really, Purdue has such a commanding lead here. I mean, a 12k, 13k gold difference here. And here's another team fight.
Yeah, Baron's in 45. I assume Purdue's just going to say, hey, again, the macro's easy at this point. When you're this big of a lead, you just play on your waves and just play for vision in these jungles into your objective that you want. In this case, it's Baron. I mean, they could try and play like really aggressive dive, but that's just too risky, right? Let's play some risk-averse, clean League of Legends here, and that's what you're seeing for Purdue. They're going to push these side lanes. They're going to push the mid lane. Sometimes they might do it as 4, like we're seeing right now, 1-3-1, something like that. Control vision, play for Baron. That is what you're going to see happening from here from the side of Purdue. Once they have Baron, then they're going to push for an end.
Yeah, I think you have a good point here. Just playing safe, playing passive on the side of Purdue. Maybe that team fight really showed them, man, this is kind of scary. These guys kind of have a chance here because they just played that so well, and it was a lot closer than even I would have expected given, like, the commanding lead that Purdue's just had.
Poke is going to jump onto Saknom, but he does have the death roam. This is very scary here, but they do have Corki and Ziggs, and Tart coming down. The death roam onto Armstrong Boy. He's got to try and kill him before the death roam ends. He does not have the damage. Oh, he does have the damage to kill him. Wow, that Q did so much. The stopwatch is going to come in to keep him alive for a little bit longer. The Ziggs bomb is going to be on top. Baron is going to go to the side of Purdue, but Saknom is going to keep fighting to the death, and he's going to almost kill Poke. He's going to kill Kyria. He's going to get 2 kills in the 4-for-0. Wow, Purdue did Baron on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Like 4 or 5 members of Manchester's team all went there with the sole intention of killing Saknam, and he just walked out of there, barely with a scratch. 2 kills. Purdue got the Baron. It's not really looking good at all for Manchester.
No, Purdue can play for the end here now. They have so much damage. They're just so incredibly strong. Flash crash down in, only hits 1, but Poke is going to fall here to Gumayuki. This guy does so much damage. Earthland is not going to have enough damage, even though he did hit the Fate Unsealed, and it's going to be game 1, which I believe it's above a best of 3 to the side of Purdue. Very clean game here, and they came in with a draft strategy, and they performed.
That's right. Just a clean game from Purdue. We saw it straight from team comp. That's exactly what they were trying to do, trying to get that early commanding lead, and that's exactly what they did.
And now going into the next game, you have to think as Manchester, what went wrong and how do you combat it? If it's a draft idea issue, if it's a gameplay issue, if it's a mix of both, how do you combat it? In my opinion, I really like their draft. I really like how you play that game. If you are a newer team or not as experienced or not as high ranked, you need scaling. You're never going to want to play the early game style. It's just too hard to commit to and perform on. But you can't play full scaling 100%. I think the Taric should have been a Leona. Makes it harder to dive early. Gives you a little bit more lane pressure. And I think it's just a little bit easier to perform on. Like, I don't know how experienced Kira is on the Taric, but Leona I think would have been a little bit of a better pick there. And that Mordekaiser was just really hard to deal with. And the counter pick of Zach did not seem to pan out the way you would hope.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, especially because you were talking about how it just could go 50-50 on that Udyr or Zach in the top lane. They chose the Zach, and it just didn't pan out the way that they thought.
Yeah, and it's the matchup they wanted. I mean, you saw exactly what Purdue wanted. They wanted Mordekaiser to be topside by himself, play bot side the whole game. It's what Mordekaiser's really good at with Death Realm, and as you saw, they played it really well bot lane to get your Draven ahead. And the Mordekaiser just kept 1v2ing. Sometimes he would die, sometimes he'd go 1-for-1, and as you saw near the end, it didn't matter if you brought all 4, you needed all 5, otherwise Saknam was winning.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Skarner as well on the side of Purdue just played really well, ganking at like great times. Just helping Draven get ahead early game in particular was extremely helpful and really pushed Purdue ahead.
Yeah, it was just a very, very well-played game. And I got a quick look at the damage chart there. Saknam did 50,000 damage in 29-minute game.
Yeah, that's
pretty
unbelievable.
impressive. That's a lot. I think Draven, I didn't see it for very much. Maybe 19, maybe 20, something along those lines. He did a lot of damage. Saknam was the big dog of that game.
That's right. Yeah, definitely the MVP of that game. That was a fantastic performance from Saknam. I have no other way to put it. It's just phenomenal.
And we're talking a lot about him because, he's the one who got the Quadra. He was the big visual aspect of that game, the one who your eyes drag to because you're looking at it the whole time. But everybody from Purdue played really well.
Yeah.
Gumayuki played that Draven phenomenal. He got himself really ahead early. He was really strong. He was getting his cash in. He was a pressure point on the map. He was a gravity. Phantom played the Rel really well. The crash down flashes, the flash Qs, the magnet storms were very good. AYZ, Ayaza. Like I said, I need to figure out how to say his name for the next game and maybe future games in this tournament. But AYZ played the Corki really well. He was doing a ton of damage. He was playing safe. He was in good positions. His macro was nice. Just really well played from the side of Purdue.
Yeah.
And Eugene, too. He was always in the right spot. Pretty much always there.
Always engaging at the right times. I think he played the Skarner fantastically. He played his role, played for the team, and they came out on top.
Yeah, it was a very impressive game, and I believe it is a best of 3. So we're going to hopefully get into game 2 of this best of 3. And before we get into that game 2 of the best of 3, we will send it to a break while we set up the lobby and get everybody ready. So we'll be right back, and keep your eyes for game 2 of Purdue versus Manchester. Hello and welcome back after that very, very fun first game here for Battle for Indiana between Purdue and Manchester. We're here for game 2.
That's right.
What are you wanting to see here from game 2?
I want to see more of the same from Purdue if they're looking to solidify this win. I'm looking to obviously make some changes if I'm Manchester. Maybe, again, as you were saying before, sticking with a team comp that does scale for the late game. Just because, as you said, they're a more inexperienced team. We see similar first bans here already.
Actually, the exact same.
Yeah.
And Manchester went ahead and picked red side for game 2, which is interesting. They must have liked their draft and just want to change maybe one or two things. Maybe that Tark is Leona, maybe a Mordekaiser ban. But Purdue is going to change a little bit and say, you know what? Your Yone, Erklin, pretty impressive. We thought you were good at it. We're going to go ahead and take that. And it's a flex pick, which is good for blue side.
That's true. And again, for this first round of bans, exact same as it was last game. Interested to see how Manchester responds here with their pick.
Maybe the Skarner, because Purdue thought the Skarner was really good last game to first pick it. So, yep, and there it is, the Skarner. So a little bit of a trade there for the Skarner Yone between these two teams. Purdue, after that first game, thought, maybe Yone's a little better than Skarner, maybe a little better than we thought. But a little bit of a trade, little differences here now. The Manchester pick could be really anything here. They could go AD carry. They could try and match with like an Akali and Aurora. They're going to take the rel away from Purdue too. I like that. You know, a lot of engage, a lot of easy play for the Manchester champions so far.
That's right. Just stealing Purdue's comp here. Hey.
Yeah, true. Next,
Let it
what,
know.
Draven on 3? Should we expect Draven on 3?
Hey, who knows?
What, is Purdue going to go Ziggs Udyr right here? What do you think?
Could
Do you think
be.
they're just going to swap
Ivern.
teams? Ivern.
I like that pick.
I think that's
If it's
fun.
real.
I wouldn't mind an Ivern. Ivern is really best when he plays against Anna Braum. Okay, so Braum also tells me that we're going to have a very aggressive AD carry, whether it's like an Ashe or maybe a Lucian, maybe a Jinx, something that pairs well with the Braum. Orianna is a good pick here too for Manchester. Erklin is a very good Orianna too. But as I was saying about the Ivern, he's really good into these tanky junglers because they don't really outpace him enough to put him behind, and they can't challenge him in his own jungle unless their lanes are really good. So I do like the Ivern, especially when paired with Yone and Braum.
And they take away the Mordekaiser too.
Yeah, that's just a respect ban from last game, right? They're like, we're not letting you play that again. That was not fun at all. And we're seeing 80 carry bans now. Ashe is a great ban. Although I think I would have liked Manchester not to ban Ashe, ban something like Kaisa or maybe Lucian and pick the Ashe themselves, but maybe they want the Kaisa here, which Kaisa would be really good for their team comp too.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well, is that Kaisa pick would be pretty good for that scaling late game comp. Good also paired with the rel support.
Yeah, it's definitely just got to be 80 carry here, right? I don't know what they are thinking of. I don't really like the Ashe ban. The Ezreal feels a little bit too safe to me. I mean, it's good into the Braum, Yone. It's actually good into all the produced champs. Ivern makes it a little bit hard for Ezreal because his DPS isn't very high. You know, he's like a little bit more of a bursty 80 carry. And if Ivern shields well during that burst, although he is high DPS, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just makes it a little bit harder. And Vladimir would be an interesting pick here. They don't really need a ton of AD here, or AP here. Vlad's very interesting blind pick. That, again, gives, and Xayah. Very interesting team comp here from Purdue. I'm not going to say I love it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely unique. I mean, I'm just kind of stoked about the Ivern pick. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah, the Ivern also only paired with one real melee champion in Yone. Braum, obviously melee, but isn't really doing what the Ivern wants him to do. Gnar, I don't think I'd like the Gnar. I'm pretty sure Gnar is a bad matchup when playing against Vlad. Like, he's almost self-counterpicked himself a little bit there. I would have much rather seen just a Camille. I think Camille would have been really good there. You know, something to lock down the Yone, lock down the Xayah, threaten the Ivern. You already have so much wombo combo dive. You know, you can win lane against Vlad and outscale him. I think Camille would have been a really good pick there, but you never know what these people play, and you never know what their comforts are when you come to land like this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe top laner's Gnar is just going to be fantastic and prove us wrong. Who knows?
it's very interesting too to pick Zaya there where they did as well. I understand the idea of Zaya where anti-dive, you have a lot of dive, you have a lot of engage, you have a lot of wombo. My ulti is gonna give me a ton of pressure, and I could be completely wrong here too. But I thought Ezreal's a good matchup against Zaya because he outranges her and she struggles against some of the longer range champions. But I could be wrong. Purdue showed me wrong last game too. They said early game's the way to play the game, which I was not expecting them to come out with, but
Yeah.
they proved me wrong last game, so I'm going to put my faith in them. If this is what they like, this is what they're comfortable on, I bet they'll perform.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely some interesting comps on both sides. This should be a really interesting game. A lot of also unconventional picks that I haven't seen in a long time as well. Just really excited to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, it should be a really fun game. It's a weird game too because Ivern makes the game weird. His jungle pathing is really weird. His timers are different than the normal junglers. Vladimir top is really interesting too because we're going to see very similar to what we saw last game where ignore that guy, leave him up there, do what he's got to do, scale, play the game later, and play bot side. And we're also seeing a little bit of Purdue's identity for the rest of the tournament. This is something to start to think about where they're playing AD mids.
Yeah.
They're not playing mages. They're playing AP top.
That's
so
true.
It's something to think about going into future games, future series. That's assuming if they win this game. Who knows? Maybe they lose this one in game 3. I do really like Manchester's comp.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong comp. I really like the dive potential here with the Skarner, the Rel, the Gnar. I think it's great. I'm also thinking that they're going to play towards the bot side. Could be mistaken. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this one. The unconventional nature of it just makes it really interesting to me. Again, I'm just really stoked to watch an Ivern game in a setting like this. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, and the more champs we see, the more fun today is going to be. That's the beauty of these newer team lands. People who haven't played a ton of games, it's not very meta defined. We haven't had months and months of pro play. These guys haven't been in tournament play against each other for weeks and weeks in a playoff setting. People don't know what they're bringing. Teams are going to bring surprises. And I'll tell you right now, I'm very surprised by Purdue's comp. So I'm very excited to see them play this. It's going to be very fun.
Oh, yeah.
And they do have answers for a lot of what Manchester has given. Like I said, the Zaya is really good into engage and wombo combo stuff. She can cancel a lot of it out with her ulti.
Yep.
Ivern and Braum are really good also at that counter engage style. They have the damage and the dive with Yon Vlad to threaten Ori Ezreal. It's really going to come down to play. Very hard comp to play, though, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. Going to be really interesting to see how Purdue plays this. Yeah, it's going to be a really great one to watch.
So going into this game for Manchester, if we're looking at it from their lens, who do you want to see be the guy this game? Like Saknom was it last game. Who's going to be the carry? Who's going to be the guy for Manchester that we need to see perform this game?
I don't know about the carry, but I do think that from Manchester's side, the jungler playing that Skarner is really going to have to take a commanding lead, is really going to have to help that bot lane out early in the game, get them ahead. I think Skarner here is going to have to run around a lot, get a lot of ganks. I think that's going to be the difference here, is going to be that jungle play, especially against something so unconventional like the Ivern.
Yeah, an Armstrong boy is quite good at the game. I mean, he's very good at League. He plays it a bunch. He studies the game. He's a smart player. So having something with a lot of options, the Skarner, this game, he could play around top, maybe a little bit harder with the Vlad pool and not any CC from Gnar, but he could play around his mid lane. It's a range versus melee champ. He should have a lot of push there. He could play around his bot. There's a lot of options for Armstrong boy on this Skarner. He can invade a bunch around his pushing mid. I would assume his top pushes early. His bot lane probably also should push early. So last game we saw 3 pushing lanes for Purdue. This game, Manchester should fight for 3 pushing lanes in this early game.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
Which makes it really hard for Ivern to play. If Ivern is playing against 3 pushing lanes and you can bring your laners into his jungle over and over and over again, you could really set him behind, which if Ivern starts to get set behind, he becomes almost useless.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be concerned about on the side of Purdue. Trying to balance getting at least some lanes ahead, keeping everyone out of the jungle. If that Rel starts to roam after Ezreal potentially gets ahead, that could be super concerning for Purdue's comp.
Yeah, and Ezreal getting ahead would also just be really hard to deal with this game. You know, they do have dive with the Yone and the Vladimir that can threaten him, but he's very long range. If he gets ahead and that poke starts to hurt with that Q, he can hit a long range ult here or there. It could be kind of a problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if it's me though, I really need to see Erklin be very aggressive against A's. Which by the way, like I said, gonna figure out his name. Mid laner for Purdue is A's. I apologize for not knowing that before the last game, but I really need to see Erklin command this mid lane. He needs to have full tempo control, full prio. He needs to manage this wave really well. It's the matchup he picked in Orianna into Yone, and Orianna could be very, very strong this game because, like Ezreal, she's really long range and can be hard to threaten. We're going to see just a pretty standard 5-point start from both of these teams here, which if I'm Manchester, I would have liked, maybe we see a Q over this wall here from Eugene onto the Gnar on a poke. Doesn't do anything. If I'm Manchester, though, I would have tried to get an early ward down to see where this Ivern is starting, because while he can path really weird, oftentimes his clear is completely defined by his very first camp, and that's what we see. Ooh, double ward, though, is not good. That's a little bit miscommunication there from the side of Manchester. Ooh, yeah, that's actually really bad, because now Ivern can really play around mid heavy, knowing that Orianna doesn't have her ward, and he can completely avoid that area of the map, those raptors, and stay off map, so they have really no idea where he's pathing. That could come back. If we see an early game from Ivern, it's because of that double ward right there.
Yeah, that's a huge disadvantage that puts Manchester in. I'm interested to see what Ivern does now. That was something we were worried about before the game, is him potentially not having a lot of options in the jungle if the other lanes are pushing ahead.
And we're actually going to see something kind of interesting here, where Ivern's going to mark 2 of his camps. He's going to walk right over that ward, go mark the bot side camps, holding his smite. So he's going to be level 1 for a lot of this game. He is then going to move up, go smite his blue buff, and come back down bot lane, be there around 305, 306 for an early gank. If Manchester, they put this ward down as Raptors, they should know completely where Ivern is, which allows these pushing lanes to play aggressive and really push their lanes, which is what we need to start seeing here from the side of Manchester, and we're seeing that here for Erklin against A's.
Yeah, definitely seeing that there. Seeing the Gnar pushing Vladimir in, despite that huge health disadvantage that the Gnar has right now. Definitely pushing in that lane very well as well. Bot side, a little more stable. Seeing a little bit of action here top lane as well.
Yeah, and that's one of those things in this matchup where, yes, Vladimir is okay trading health. He doesn't mind trading health because he's going to sustain. Gnar has to trade at timers that are going to cost Vladimir minions. If he's not doing that and he's just trading randomly, it's going to become a health disparity for nothing. But because we are shoving that wave in, we're going to make it hard. And like I said, Ivern's here around 306, 307. Is going to look for a play on bot. They do not have a single ward bot lane. And this is what we saw from Eugene last game, where he got behind this bot lane and made a play on them. The root is going to hit, and so is the Braum slow, but I don't think they have enough damage to kill Kira. Not quite. I mean, it's exactly what I said would happen. Manchester had to know that was happening. It's okay that they didn't lose any sums, but they lost a lot of health for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought that Skarner was going to come down and make a play there as well, be aggressive. But now they have a little bit of vision here in the bot side, aimed towards maybe putting away that Ivern or keeping track of him a little bit more, but he just takes away that ward as well. So
yeah, and like last game, Eugene is going to play around his bot side. He thinks T1, Gumayuki, and Phantom are worth playing around, that if he does, he will be able to carry, that they will be able to carry this game for him. And he's just going to completely avoid top. And this is kind of what I said when I was like, we're seeing what Purdue is. They want to play weak side top laners with a scaling champ and play around a very strong bot lane. And that's what's going to happen. And as we can see, just more trading here from Saknom into Poke. And that's what I'm talking about, where if you're not trading for minions, you're just going to be trading your health, and it's not going to be good trades for you. Ivern getting double scuttle here would be very disastrous for Armstrong Boy when he has 2 pushing lanes topside. That is not setting Ivern behind at all.
Yeah, no. Ivern getting a very, very clear advantage here in the jungle with those double scuttles, pushing that bot side in even more as well, getting his bot side ahead, and looks like he's helping out mid here too. Skarner's coming in.
He's going to try and get mid the shove, and Phantom's here as well to just make sure that A's can get a reset off without having any pressure. They do not have enough damage here to kill Armstrong Boy. All they care about is getting this wave in so A's can get a reset without losing any tempo or losing any XP. I mean, he loses some. We're seeing a lot of trading here. Poke might have a kill here. That's a flash out from Saknom, who does have Nimbus Cloak, which means he's going to have the move speed off that flash to run away, which really well played by Poke. I mean, I don't remember when he flashed. I don't think we saw it, but he did not have flash, so to get that flash back out of Saknom is really nice.
That's true, and we're going to see a TP here as well. Vlad's just going to come right back up. I don't think he saw Skarner at the time, maybe with that the scuttle down there, but I think Skarner is still hidden up there top, so we could see a move potentially.
Yeah, and that is exactly what we're going to see. He doesn't have cool. This is really bad for Saknom. I don't know if Armstrong Boy has his cooldowns up right now, but Saknom has no flash, no cool. This could be bad. The empowered Q is going to give him some move speed and a big heal. I don't know if Armstrong Boy is going to have enough damage to do this. Oh, he's going to flash forward to get the first blood to Armstrong Boy while we've seen some trading bot. The crash down to get away from Phantom. Kyria is going to be forced to flash. Risk Asuna, Arcane shifts away to not cost himself any summons, but Kira loses the flash in the play.
Yeah, that was so well played by Poke and Armstrong Boys, getting that early kill on the Vlad.
Oh, the Fate Unsealed onto the Armstrong Boys does miss. Ace does not have very much damage here without that ulti. Does he have enough to kill Armstrong Boy before the Soul Unbound? He is going to get that first kill. Poke is going to get the transform. He does have his ult. He's going to stun him against the wall. And the Orianna Shockwave forces Eugene's flash while killing A's. Very well played there from the mid laner. And we're seeing a lot of trading bot. Their first kill bot lane is going to go to T1 Gumayuki on Kyria in just a straight up 2v2. Lots of plays, lots of fighting happening across the map right now for both these teams.
Oh yeah, so much action going on here. Just a fantastic
Ivern died too. We missed it. Ivern died too. Orianna got another kill.
Yeah,
she was able to kill Ivern on the other side of it. That's big for Erklin.
Yeah, and that stun from Erklin as well was just huge for that fight. Really just turned the tables there, honestly, in Manchester's favor.
Yeah, and the good thing about fights like that is it gives you confidence. After losing that first game, you know, Purdue came out with a, we're going to beat you down, we're going to beat you down, we're going to beat you down comp like over and over and over. And then they did it. It's a kind of a, hurts your confidence a lot. So getting this early game, 2 kills, 1 kill, 3 kills, doesn't matter, brings a lot of confidence. Now we just need to see, oh, Pool's down again and Armstrong Boy is top. Poke isn't going to have transform for a couple more hits. Saknom does not have flash, but he does put a ward down to spot it out, so there's going to be no play there. But the confidence for Manchester has to be growing little by little every single second this game goes on, and they're able to make good plays, which is what you need in this kind of series.
That's true, and if I'm Skarner right now, maybe I'm thinking about grubs, because it looks like Ivern here is going to get the dragon, so I would just look to trade if possible, but looks like they're going to try to contest it potentially.
Yeah, they want to fight it, and you know, I have to agree with you. I would much rather see them just trade, cross-map the objectives. The crash down isn't going to hit on anyone. Skarner is not 6 here. The Magnet Storm is very good, but Phantom gets off the Soul Unbound, hits multiple people for A's, and that's just going to be a clean 4-for-1 for the side of Purdue. Very, very well played there by A's.
Yeah, they should have just gone with the grubs. That was a very well played fight, especially by Yone there. Just that getting 3 of them.
Saknom solo kills Poke in the top lane. You're absolutely right. They should have just cross-mapped that play because Armstrong Boy is not level 6. He doesn't have that Impale yet. And Purdue is a very, like, they're just stronger early game. Yone is stronger than Ori early. I mean, Ezreal, Xayah, whatever, can be debated on who's stronger there. But Braum's definitely stronger early than Rel. And you don't have that level 6 on Skarner. They definitely should just cross-map, play it on their strong side, top side, and just given up that first dragon. It would have been completely the correct play to do.
And now we might see another play here on the side of Purdue, trying to get these grubs. Looks like Ivern's going to try to get it. Yone coming up as well to help. Maybe going to try to catch Orianna out.
No, I think he just wants to get one grub for the XP, keep himself ahead of this Skarner, and then just get out, which actually he didn't even get one of the grubs. Maybe he was scared of the fact that Braum moved back bot lane and Rel was already up there. He didn't want to contest them, but this is more what you wanted to see from Manchester. Just trade the sides of the map. You don't need to fight right now. And look how strong the Xayah is already having Essence Reaver now. It's going to be really hard to play wherever she is. Just really, really a big pressure point. Again, T1. Risk Asuna Yuki to lose CS, to have a hard game, and Braum might be a little bit caught out here. Hit the blast cone so he doesn't have that option to get out. Nice job there from Kira. They just have to slowly get him down, but T1 Gumayuki is killing Risk Asuna. Huge Braum ult. The Magnet Storm onto T1 Gumayuki. The Feather Storm is going to be enough to stay alive, maybe for a little second. The Ivern shields are huge. This shutdown is big. It goes over to the Skarner, though, which is not ideal, but you'll take it. You'll take the free 2 kills, but Ivern's going to get one back because Daisy's an absolute menace, and the Root's going to land for the second on the back end of that play.
Yeah, Eugene not really set up in a great position.
Does Poke got the damage to kill him here? He's going to get the Empowered Q for Saknam. He's just enough. He needs one more auto and another 1v1 top side, but this side, Pope comes out on top. Urkling going to TP mid here to catch this mid wave. Lots of plays. This one is a lot bloodier game. Manchester said, we didn't fight you last game. We're going to fight you this game.
Oh, yeah. And it's looking like Braum might get caught out again.
The crash down is going to land. Kira does have the stun. The slow is going to land as well, but Braum does have the jump to Xayah if Xayah gets close enough to him, which he does. T1 Gumayuki is there. But everyone here, there is no Impale. But Xayah has no sums. Going to be a slow. Do they have any more CC that can follow up? The Shockwave is there. It's going to land, and Urkling's going to get another kill.
Yeah, it's a great response there from Manchester. They're doing a great job catching Braum out there in their jungle and just making the best they could of it.
Yeah, Purdue playing a little bit more messy than they did in game 1, and Manchester is not going quietly. They are not laying down. They are going to try and make plays, and the Impale does land. He does have the Fate Unsealed to get out of there. It doesn't get him out, and the Soul Unbound is going to try and keep him alive, but no, Urkling is going to get that kill. Very well played here from Manchester, where they are just going to fight over and over and over. They said, we are all about it. Let's box.
That's right. And Armstrong Boyce has just been doing a great job of maintaining the jungle presence, despite this Ivern kind of having a little bit of a jungle lead. I mean, these past 2 fights here, he's been the one that's been the driving factor to get these kills.
Yeah, and this is, I don't want to say it's what you want to do against Ivern, because realistically, you have 2 options. You either put Ivern super far behind because you're stronger than him early, you have faster tempo, stuff like that, or you make it so that all Ivern's laners are far behind, which is what they chose to do in this case. So Armstrong Boy is the one who is suffering big time in his matchup, but we're seeing the fruits of those labors in Urkling's lane. And we're seeing it also in helping Risk Asuna be a little bit closer in this lane. And we are seeing a fight. TP is coming in from Gnar onto this dragon. Everyone's going to run down to this tri-bush to stay away because Saknam does not have TP, so this is just going to be a free dragon to the side of Manchester. But it's going to cost him the TP, some minions top, and maybe that tower.
We're seeing a little bit of poke coming out in the mid lane here against poke. And Erklin's also coming up, but looks like poke's just going to go back topside.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to see too. Like I said, I need to see Erklin and on this Orianna be the pressure point. He needs to be the big dog of this game. He's 4-1. He's got an inconsequential CS lead. I mean, 2 CS doesn't mean anything, but he's 4-1. He is very strong this game. If he plays it well, he's going to be very hard to kill too, unless like Vladimir gets a flank or the Fate Unsealed lands.
And it looks like a few champions here on the side of Purdue are going to try to get poke here and also get that tower.
He doesn't have Mega Gnar, so the dive's a lot easier unless he's able to get it. They do have a lot of CC. He's going to jump early. The Vlad can drop tower aggro with the pool. He does not get his Mega Gnar in time, so that's just a clean dive there from Purdue, which is what we've seen between these two games.
Get that first tower as well, which is huge. Looks like Purdue is also going to get this Rift Herald as well.
And we're seeing it over and over again. Manchester is just slightly late to the play because either they don't read it fast enough. Oh, we're going to see a fight here. Armstrong Boy is very tanky. He's going to be hard to kill. He does have the Magnet Storm flash and the Impale onto the tooth. The Shockwave comes in, lands onto the Vladimir. That's one down. A's is going to be forced to flash away. Oh, Erklin flashed over that wall to finish him off. The kill goes to Armstrong Boy. We're just seeing them scrapping, but as I was saying, we're seeing them slightly late to the play. Right there, they were slightly late to the play as well. Yes, they're really strong. Yes, they can fight them and scrap in these fights. But if they're late to the plays, they're going to lose these objectives. They either need to be there earlier or they need to cross map. And as you see, they can fight. They just have to be there early enough to fight.
Yeah, they do have the vision on the top side too. I'm not sure why they didn't move up a little bit sooner to potentially contest that Rift Herald. But still, either way, they got to kill.
This is a risky TP. Oh, it's Saknam. I thought it was A's, but he's not going to be able to die with his pool. Maybe not. He doesn't have flash for a couple more seconds. The Redemption is going to come in to keep him alive. They don't have any heal cut. Saknam is going to have a lot of safety there. Phantom's coming in on the side here. He's going to flash forward. Erklin doesn't have flash, but Saknam's flash comes just back in time, but he's going to get suppressed and pulled under the tower. His pool is back as well. With the shields, with the healing, this guy is unkillable. Risk Asuna is going to get a free kill on the back, on the inside of this. But it's just a lot of scrapping, a lot of fighting. Herald's going to be used to try and weaken this mid tower.
Or potentially just get it as well. And I think Saknam there just getting a few kills, that's huge for him. Especially when that Gnar was kind of being pretty aggressive towards him. It's going to be interesting to see his role in the near future.
Yeah, and Ace is just going to fight Poke here, who is just going to die. Once Yone has that board, he can 1v1 almost anybody on a side lane. So we're just seeing, again, that messy play from Manchester. They had the right idea. Let's play for mid tower, but then they dragged it out too long. Once they saw it was Saknam, they should have just walked away. You know, Armstrong Boy went in to try and suppress him, kill him, but he's got too much healing. They didn't have heal cut. Erklin, I don't believe had Shockwave quite yet. I'm not 100% on that yet, though. But it's just a little bit messy. They're just either a step behind or a step too far ahead of themselves.
And they're gonna hope here that they're a step ahead because this dragon's coming up. There a lot of Manchester is setting up on the bot side. That's kind of what you want to see. It's something to be aware of though is Yone does have that TP. So if they do try to get a team fight, it's going to be scary if he TPs and tries something there for this dragon fight.
Yeah, and they're losing mid-prio, which means that they give access to the river. But they already have so much vision control, and Braum only has 1 ward left. I would like to see Kira's and also... So Braum just based there to get more wards. I would like to see Kira based there to get more wards as well, because now what's going to happen is Zaya's going to fight for mid-prio over and over, access to the river, and Kira has no wards besides one to really help facilitate that, and they're just dropping waves mid to keep control of this river, and low-key Purdue might just cross-map it and give this dragon.
That's true, and also something to keep in mind, despite how a lot of these fights have looked, Purdue is up 4K gold as well.
Yeah, and we're seeing this posturing here. Yone does have first move, so Orianna is going to be forced to TP. It's going to be a full-out brawl for this. I think they know Yone is there. I'm not sure if they saw him. Erklin is not TP'd yet, which is kind of holding it to see what happens here at this play. They're going to keep losing and bleeding minions on mid-wave, though, every second that this fight goes on. TP comes in now. Fate Unsealed hits onto 2. Armstrong Boy does get the stun onto Ace, who does end up killing him. Kira is going to fall as well. Erklin does have Shockwave. It does land on the 4, but it has no damage, and Poke jumps in, hits the Mega Gnar, but it's going to be stopped by the Xayah ult, so it doesn't hit him, and Saknam is going to... Oh no, the huge heal there. Oz's going to Arcane shift forward, but Saknam had the shield, or the heal, and the pool right in time. Phantom's just going to chase this down, gift the kill over to Xayah or Saknam, one of the two, does not matter. Very good fight there from the side of Purdue. And it was, again, Manchester just slightly too late. You've got to TP early there on Ori. You can't TP into a place where people are going to have time to initiate the fight before you get them.
And I think communication also just broke down in that fight there too. Poke clearly wanted to go in after that Orianna ult, but his team didn't back him up at all, and he just got caught out for it.
And Kira was in there early too. You know, he Magnet Storm crashed down in very early into the fight before the TP got down. Armstrong Boy had a nice stun onto A's and with the Impale, but they just didn't have the damage because Erklin wasn't there. Kira didn't have the CC because he dove in. It's just a little bit miscommunication. Like I said, they have the right ideas on the general aspect of playing this game, but they just keep minor mistakes. If they can clean this up for the rest of this game, you know, start being there earlier, start playing a little bit more as a team comp, play around your win con, they can definitely contest this game even though they're at a 6k gold deficit.
That's true, and Saknam there getting that topside scuttle as well, which is great, just furthering the vision advantage that Purdue now has on the top side.
Yeah, and this is what I said last game. Now, we're seeing very clean gameplay from Purdue. Yes, this is a 30-kill game at 21 minutes, and there's some maybe micro mistakes or fighting that doesn't need to be fought, but they play this macro really clean. They're going to move their vision topside towards this Baron. They have Xayah, they have Yone, they have champions that can really melt this Baron quickly. They're going to control the vision, push these waves, move to Baron, and keep playing this game. Try and get some TPs, try and get a little bit of a pick onto someone. But this is what they're going to do, and they're playing it really well.
Absolutely, and they're all grouped up here on the top side. Maybe looking for a super early Baron. Looks like they're pinging it.
Yeah, like I said, they melted, and there's a good chance here that maybe they play for Yone TP or Gnar TP. They just get Gnar TP and back out, but they melt this, and nobody from Manchester is in position to make a play. Armstrong Boy has to go and try for the steal. Ace is going to keep Poke from TPing. They're going to push Armstrong Boy off of this Baron. The TP is going to come in right now. Rooted, they're just going to kill this starter. See, Armstrong Boy is, oh, nice impaled though. Fate Unsealed lands, Shockwave onto 3, but they have no damage because they're so far behind. Even the Magnet Storm was nice to crash down. Fate Unsealed is going to end up killing Ace, or Ace is going to, end up killing Erklin, and it's just going to be a clean wipe. See, they didn't even care about doing the Baron. Very smart to make a play on Baron, bring everybody there, and then peel off to kill Armstrong Boy, take the fight when you're already winning so hard. Really well played there from the side of Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue played that absolutely amazing. It's kind of surprising to me that that Orianna doesn't do a lot more damage, considering that she does have 5 kills, but it's just not happening.
Well, you're playing a mage, and mages aren't very good, is what I like to say. I think mages are one of the weaker classes in the game, and you ended up going Hourglass second, which is a defensive item. I mean, if you have Shadow Flame there, or Death Cap, or Leandry, something that does a lot more damage, Horizon Focus, something, maybe that fight's different, but you're down so much gold at this point in the game, and Purdue played it so well, I'm not sure the item really made a big difference there. And we're going to see now that they have Baron, we're going to see it through 1-3-1, just like we saw last game. Keep pressuring these lanes, Move your vision bot side over and over. It's like, it's not a hard, League is not a hard game. Fundamentally, sometimes it's not a hard game. And we're seeing that from the side of Purdue. They're playing very standard, very smart League of Legends. 1-3-1, move your vision towards the objective, play on your strong wave. And they're going to play for this tier 2 now with all their pressure.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what Purdue does here, considering that there's 4 guys from Manchester under this turret, but they're still pushing it up. They're still there. It's gonna be interesting. Ivern also coming bot side, potentially looking to go mid, get that wave.
Yeah, we're going to see probably Zaya move to mid right now, push that wave, and then play again on the pressure because somebody has to answer these waves. Someone from Manchester always has to answer. There's no way you can both answer, like you can't answer the jungle and the waves. You have to pick one of them. You have to go somewhere. We're just going to see this pressure because of the strength of the champions, the way they're playing the game. Purdue's going to take out these tier 2 towers, slowly chip them down, move into the jungle, move into these tier 3s over and over again.
Something also to be aware of here, Dragon's up in 30 seconds. Maybe Manchester's going to make a play there, maybe not. Obviously, Saknam down there is kind of scary, but it looks like 3 people are now here.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to kill him. He's just too fat. Oh, they do get the nice stun onto the wall there, and the crash down. They are going to kill him. Nice. Well played. Nice pick there, but they used a couple of big cooldowns there with the Gnar ulti, although if he gets his rage bar back, he'll have his ult no matter what. But Yone's pushing topside, going to get that tier 3. And Purdue is completely fine giving this dragon. It doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things of the game. So they're going to move mid, get this tier 3, maybe try and play for double inhib. And they could just do this whenever they want. And they can play for the TP from Saknam when he's alive. Yeah, they're going to play for double inhib and this TP in 15 seconds if they need.
Yeah, and this is a huge advantage for Purdue, just having these 2 inhibs down. Obviously, then those...
It's just really smart play from Purdue. And it's the difference between teams that have played a lot together and review their games and know how to play the map versus teams that haven't. Once they realize they can't play for this dragon, they're going to cross map. They're going to go do something else. And it's very similar to like we saw earlier in this game where Purdue had full control of the dragon and Manchester fought at a disadvantage because they didn't have vision, they didn't have the items, they were a little bit weaker. They could have gone across map, but they chose to fight. It's very good for learning the game. Like when you're done with this game, you go and review it, you'll watch this, you'll be like, oh, we should have done this. Very good. And Purdue is putting on a clinic right now on how to play the macro, how to cross map, how to actually play good, clean League of Legends, even though all 10 players in this game are quite good players.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Vladimir's up there top. Gonna try to split push up there, just apply pressure. Erklin is also up there, hoping to catch that wave, just looking to defend base.
And they're just gonna slowly bleed. It's a very hard game to come back now for Manchester. You're down 12k gold. You just have to find a play. It's got to be a mega impale and the mega Gnar onto the wall. You just have to have everything go your way to make this work, or you're just gonna slowly bleed out. And they got to do it quick. They can't sit here and keep waiting around for triple inhibs to be taken. Somebody has to have that go button. They have to let it happen. Nice. He's going to try poke, but the Phantom Seal is going to land onto 1. The Zaya ult is just so big. The Redemption and shields are huge from Eugene. 2v1 Gumayuki is basically full health after all this. Phantom finds the root onto Asuna on the backline. Erklin is going to fall. He does hit a nice shockwave on the 4, but because of the wallets of Purdue, it's not going to do very much damage. And that's going to be the series going over to Purdue in our first game of the day.
And they had a really commanding lead there. They really closed the gap, or rather, spread open the gap against Manchester there. And it was another commanding victory for Purdue.
Erklin going to get the shutdown on the back end of that just to make himself feel a little bit better. And sometimes in League as a caster, it's hard to say good things about a team that lost, but Manchester came in with ideas and they played it well, and you could see them slowly getting better as both these games happened. Like game 1, they came in a little scared, not scared, but they had a draft identity of scaling, right? Maybe they played it too passive. Game 2, they said, we're going to scrap. They had fights early. But the thing is, I say, in LAN events, the team with the best macro is going to win. And Purdue played the macro of that game really well. And when you play it that well, it's going to put you in contention for a tournament like this, where some teams, people aren't going to perform as well mechanically. Their laning phase might not be as good, but if you make the right decisions as a team, you're going to be competitive. And I think Purdue showed that they're going to be competitive today.
Absolutely, and especially early in that game, Purdue was not playing to the best of their abilities, but they always had the long game in mind. They were always thinking about the future, giving up different dragons and giving up some grubs, but it didn't matter. In the end, it paid off for them because they thought about the long game the entire time, and they played fantastically. Once Vladimir started to get ahead, I think it was really over. Once he started split pushing and applying a lot of pressure to these lanes just by himself, Manchester had to respond with a lot of people to deal with him, just to maybe kill him. But a lot of the times he escaped, and that provided a lot of space for the rest of the people on Purdue to get ahead.
Yeah, and they took advantage of it, and now we're going to see that Purdue is winner of this round 1. While this game was happening, the rest of round 1 was happening simultaneously. When we come back from our next break before our next match, I'll update you on what those results ended up looking like. But now we're going to see Purdue move to the next round and Manchester move to the losers bracket, which is best of 1. Every game now, high pressure for them, best of 1. They got to come out, play their game, and just play strong, smooth League of Legends. No fear. Just let it happen. Let it come to you. But you can't be late because, like we saw, they were late to plays. And don't get too ahead of yourselves. You guys are good players. You mechanically played really well. You had a lot of good, shiny moments. You had nice rel engages, nice shock waves. In that losers bracket, you just have to keep strong mental. On the Purdue side, you get to ride the high now. You played that series well. Nice little quick 2-0. You feel good. Got to ride that high. And you have to keep playing this clean macro. And I'm excited to see what they do for the rest of this tournament. With that, I think we will go to break. And we will come back and I will have those results for the rest of round 1. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for watching. For more updates, follow the Butler Esports socials at Butler Esports.